I am Pastor Strawn, joined by the head coach of the snowboarding team, Ryan Leeds, for this edition of Face to Face. Thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, no problem.
So, biggest question I've got to ask, how does a guy from New Jersey and a very talented snowboarder, and yourself, matter of fact, come all the way to Lynchburg, Virginia, when really snowboarding was a bit of a pipe dream?
Yeah, so I actually came to Liberty in the hopes of playing baseball. Tried out for the team in like an open tryout. Didn't quite make it, and then Snowflex got installed my sophomore year of college, and it was just kind of like a thing that worked out because I'd grown up skiing and snowboarding my entire life. So I was extremely excited to see that went in, but it wasn't my initial plan to continue skiing and snowboarding when I first came to college. So.
And after you did finish being on the team for 3 years, you actually made a quick transition to coaching. So talk about the decision not only to make that transition, but even also if there's another athlete that's maybe thinking about doing a bit of a quick turnaround like you did,
Sure.
What advice you would give?
Yeah, so I was kind of even on team. I was kind of that guy that always enjoyed giving advice to some of the guys that were newer or hadn't been doing it as long. I've always enjoyed coaching. That was actually my first couple of jobs, was coaching at my local ski resort. And then when I was in college, I was a ski instructor and snowboard instructor. So it's just something that I've always enjoyed doing. I like seeing the joy that comes with learning a new trick or progressing to a certain point. So kind of going from the athlete that's kind of concentrated on doing just well individually, moving into the coaching standpoint, it was a pretty easy transition just because of what I was passionate about. And now that it's fun to see the individual do well, but it's also really exciting to see the team as a whole come together and do well. And the past couple of nationals, we've gotten to see that kind of come to fruition where people have progressed and gotten to a certain point, and that's landed us on the podium at nationals the past couple of years. So.
And I know one of the things you guys definitely decided to do was your mission is to be the light on the hill. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, being here at Liberty, that might not sound like a big mission because it probably comes with the job. But you guys really made this your focus, even more so than getting guys on the podium, like you just said. So when was it, and you did it shortly in your coaching career, that you decided that this is going to be our main focus as a team?
Yeah, I think just competing as an athlete myself, when you're so focused on just doing well and landing on the podium, things can quickly go downhill, especially if you get injured. Things don't turn out as well. So perspective has been my focus as an athlete and as a coach. I want our athletes to be focused on what's most important. Skiing and snowboarding is something that's fun that they get to enjoy while they're in college, and hopefully they'll get to do it beyond college. But they should be focusing on what's going to bring them the most joy, what's going to bring them the most satisfaction. Landing on a podium is certainly going to give you a temporary joy and satisfaction, but it's not going to be that ultimate fulfillment like our relationship with the Lord is going to be. And so I've tried to instill that in our athletes. I definitely want them to realize that when they're out there on the hill that they need to use their abilities, their talents as a platform to share the gospel, because that is ultimately what we're here for. That is why God has created us. And so we get a great opportunity to enjoy God's creation, skiing and snowboarding in awesome locations. Like we're going to Mount Bachelor in a couple of weeks. And so that's an amazing hill, and our guys are going to get an amazing opportunity to ride. But that's not the main focus. The main focus is glorifying God in riding his creation, but also glorifying God in sharing the good news. And if our guys can get that, then I think we succeeded as a team.
And yeah, speaking about your guys, as a coach, because when I first heard this concept, I won't lie, I love the idea of that was your idea's goal, and even the focus and kind of the coin motto of the team. But when you see your guys as a coach not only stepping out boldly with their faith, but even in the rider meetings, they're praying before, and then they get such a warm reception after. As a coach, what goes through your mind when you see stuff like that?
I'm just excited to see it. It's hard to kind of put into words because it's just it's a cool feeling to see that the guys are also having that same perspective that I had when I was on team, and they're getting it essentially. You know what I mean? So when they're focused on their relationship with the Lord first and foremost, that makes me extremely excited. And I think also when they have that perspective, skiing and snowboarding kind of just comes naturally. You know what I mean? And again, it comes back to using their talents and abilities as a platform. I think the reason that our team has had such a warm reception with other teams is because they're very talented skiers and snowboarders. They're not just coming out there just trying to like form relationships with people out of nowhere. These are the guys that have made a name for themselves at nationals. They've made a name for themselves being undefeated in our region the past several years. And so other teams know who we are, and being at kind of the top in our conference has given us an awesome opportunity to form those relationships and to build those bridges. And I think focusing on that and not losing perspective is what it's cool to see that our guys have had that.
Yeah, and one of the cool things I know you got to experience recently was you got to induct one of your best friends and your assistant coach, Kevin Mangau, into the Club Sports Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And then 24 hours later, you were there by his side when him and his wife gave birth to their first kid. And I know you guys have experienced a lot of things. He was in your wedding and was there when you gave birth to your first kid as well. So, like, you always hear from the guy, though, like Kevin, who went through all the emotions. You don't ever hear from the best friend. So, like, when you got to not only be the one to induct him, but also be by his side when he has his first kid, like, what was going through your mind, too?
That is an experience and a joy that it's hard to even express. Because when I had my my daughter Bella, you feel a whole new flood of emotions that you've never felt before. And so to watch your best friend get to experience that, and especially with his little girl too, it was just an exciting, like that was more exciting than anything else. Like any title that we've won together, him getting inducted in the Club Sports Hall of Fame, which is also really exciting, but this was like, this topped everything, him becoming a father. So I think, it's just an exciting experience. It's really hard to put into words because just watching your best friend now become a dad and the joy that like him and his wife shared in welcoming their new daughter Lincoln into the world, it was just an incredible experience.
Now, when you first came to Lynchburg almost 8 years ago, you said it yourself, snowboarding was a pipe dream here, and Snowflex hadn't even been installed. It got installed your sophomore year. So 8 years ago, when you first stepped on this campus as a freshman, did you imagine that the team would be where it is now?
No, I think like to think about a ski and snowboard team from Lynchburg, Virginia to be a top 5 nationally ranked team, I don't know if anybody would really expect that. But I think it's a testament to the progression that can happen at Snowflex. We've seen a lot of professionals come out of Snowflexes from the UK, and they're now on the professional circuit doing very well. And again, it's a testament to the progression that can happen at Snowflex. And so I definitely wouldn't say that it was expected, but it kind of makes sense. And we've gotten close. We've seen a lot of guys grow exponentially at Snowflex. The Steltzers and Kevin Hoff, Brendan McHugh, Austin Santos, some of our top guys have just grown tremendously because of what Snowflex allows, and it's allowed us to land on the podium a couple of times now. And we've gotten close. We're getting to that number 1 spot, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know if I could ever, like to answer your question again, I don't know if it's something that I would have ever really expected, but it does make sense, and it's just really a blessing from the Lord that hopefully we continue to do well and steward well.
And let's talk now personally. Like we've been talking obviously about your coaching career, but you're also a husband and father. You're a master's student. You're working on your doctorate after, or I've heard you're going to pursue it after.
Yeah.
You run the entire Snowflex facility. So like, and obviously you have a passion for video too, because I've seen some of the videos you guys pump out. So like, how not only do you find the time, but even more so, what's next for Ryan Leeds with not only just coaching this team, but in life too? Like, how long do you think you'll do this?
Managing your time is something that can be extremely difficult to do. It's something that I try to instill in my athletes, but I think what makes it easier is when it's something that you're passionate about. I'm passionate about what I'm learning in school right now. I'm passionate about skiing and snowboarding, otherwise I wouldn't have been doing it my entire life. It's something that my parents kind of instilled in us when we were younger, and it just stuck, and so I really enjoy it. It makes those rough days where it just seems like everything's kind of coming down on you at once a little bit easier because it's something that you're passionate about. I don't go to work and kind of dread being there. I go to work excited because it's within an industry that I love. It's within an industry that I want to see Jesus infiltrate, like become known in. And so, it can be extremely daunting at times, but it's something that I'm extremely passionate about. Then to answer your second question, what's next? I don't know exactly what's next. I've always kind of wanted to be in the ski and snowboard industry in some shape or form. But I continue to do school while I can, and continue to grow in my knowledge, but then most importantly, continue to grow in relationships within this industry. If I'm going to school and gaining all this knowledge only to kind of have it to myself, it's kind of pointless. And so I want to use what I'm learning in school now to apply practically in the relationships that I'm forming with people in the industry, whether that's other teams, companies that we work with, partner with at Snowflex, my athletes personally. I want to make sure that we're forming those types of relationships, and that's what the focus is. So I don't know exactly what's next. I'm going to continue to enjoy what's now, but as long as I'm continuing to pursue God's plan, I think everything will kind of work out.
Well, yeah, I think it will, and hopefully that it's this year that you guys do be able to get on that podium with the national championship. But thank you again for sitting down and
thanks
talking
for
with
having
us,
me.
and yeah, it's always a pleasure.
For sure.